I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit.
What is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus 3 TCG, and today I want to talk about cards. As usual, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but today we are going to talk about some overhyped cards. This isn't necessarily a market watch. I'm just complaining here, y'all. This is getting a little bit ridiculous about some of these cards and their prices. For one, we are going to start out with the cards from Dark Saviors, at least one. Beat Bladesman for Hire. This is absolutely ridiculous. Look at this price tag on this card, y'all. $15.86 for Beat. Does anyone know what this card does? Because it truly does not deserve the price tag that it has. Let's take a peek at its stats. This is Beat Bladesman for Hire. It's an Earth level 3 warrior effect monster with 1200 attack and 500 defense. This so far has a pretty small PP and an even smaller butt, but its effect is pretty good. During your main phase, you can special summon one monster for hire from your hand, except Beat Bladesman for Hire. All of the for hires do that. You can't special summon themselves. But if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can add one monster for hire from your deck to your hand, except Beat Bladesman for Hire, and you can only use each effect to beat once per turn. They all have that effect, but they can't be used more than once per turn. But this card does add you a monster. However, you have to open up an additional monster. It's not even a freaking starter card. You can't just summon this and get something. You have to have a monster in hand, and that's why with this deck you have to play a deck full of monsters, which isn't necessarily bad for the deck because it helps you swarm the board, but it's not like they have a link monster. You have to open the boss monster for this to be effective, for it to be a quote-unquote 2-card combo. To open Beat and Raphael, that's pretty good, but it still does not warrant this thing to be $15.86. I mean, I guess supposedly this is one of the short prints of Dark Saviors, but I'm still saying this does not deserve to be $15.86, considering this is one of the most expensive cards in the set. Now, Engage is the most expensive card in the set, but that kind of warrants its price tag. I mean, $100 or $98 is kind of pricey for that card, but I'm not saying that is a little too overhyped. That card kind of deserves its price tag. Next on the list, though, is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. This came out of Flames of Destruction. This card is another Ghost Girl card. Everyone got hyped about it, and I think that's really what this price tag is about, because $40 for Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, that is absolutely ridiculous. This card stops Gokies. It stops Gokies. Gokies are great and all, don't get me wrong, but $40 to stop Gokies? Maybe that's the direction Yu-Gi-Oh is going, is these staples are just going to get more and more expensive, even if they don't hit a mass majority of the decks. I really don't know. I guess it can help against the Trickstar matchup as well, so maybe that warrants the $40 price tag. However, I beg to differ. It doesn't have as much of an impact as Ghost Ogre did or anything like that. So I'm not really seeing the price tag. Its effect reads as such. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, quick effect, you can discard this card and negate the activation. Add a card from the graveyard to the hand, deck or extra deck, special summon from the graveyard, or banish a card from the graveyard. You can only use one once per turn. Like I said, the card really doesn't deserve a $40 price tag. It is a really good card. Great artwork, probably one of my favorite artworks, but price tags aren't decided by the artworks, unfortunately. And this card's effect, I don't think really deserves a $40 price tag. Even though it stops Gokies, one card in Gokies, even though it stops, I guess, Reincarnation in Trickstars, I don't think this card deserves a $40 price tag. Infinite Impermanence, also one of the greatest cards of the format, one of the greatest hand traps of the format right now, and it's only good in Altergeists. And Altergeists are definitely not that good of a deck. They're a great rogue selection. Don't get me wrong, I personally love Altergeists. However, they don't deserve, or this card does not deserve that price tag, $70 for an Effect Veiler. It's better than an Effect Veiler because it can be used on your opponent's turn, and when you're using it with Altergeist, you can trigger Multi-Vapor's effect on their first turn, giving you an interruption before you even draw your first card. Not worth $70, I'll tell you that much, because you don't even get the second part of the effect. You don't even get to negate the column spell trap. Let's just read this effect. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls that has its effects negated until the end of this turn. Then, if this card is activated while it was set, negate the effects of other spell and traps in this card's column this turn. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. Whoop-de-doo, Basil! That's only good during your opponent's turn if you're playing Altergeist, and if you're playing any other deck, it's just an Effect Veiler. Why is it $70? I don't really know. Evenly matched, I can feel that. That is an extremely powerful card, an extremely powerful hand trap that you have to, while you have to give up the battle phase, you get rid of pretty much everything. This does not even really solve the problem. I guess you can hit Gokis with this if you're playing this in like the mirror match, and you can stop their Isolde for the turn, but they can still combo off. Well, I guess they have to open up a little bit better, but that still does not necessarily deserve a $70 price tag if you can stop Isolde. It is a really good card. It is great in Altergeist. I just don't think this thing deserves a $69.95 price tag. Along with Ancient Gear Fusion. Jesus Christ. $26.74 to be able to afford an Ancient Gear Fusion. This is absolutely insane. This is nostalgia talking all the way, y'all. This is Ancient Gear Fusion coming out of Legendary Duelist. Ancient Millennium. It's just a normal spell card, guys. And it fusion summons an Ancient Gear. I guess, well, let's just read it. Fusion summon one Ancient Gear. Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. If you use an Ancient Gear Golem or an Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound you control as fusion material, you can use monsters in your deck as fusion material. Great. It's just kind of a shit-all fusion. It's a way worse shit-all fusion, but I guess you can use the deck effect first turn if you open up Ancient Gear Golem or Ultimate Pound. Still, I don't see this card. This and the next one is probably the worst. This should not be $26.74. For all you Ancient Gear players, I'm so sorry. This is probably making the deck very non-budget. I imagine you need to play at least 2 of this card. Maybe it's searchable, maybe I'm tripping, but it sounds like a pretty good card, especially with the fact that you can send monsters from your deck for fusion materials if you have one of these monsters. The problem is, you have to freaking control one of these monsters. It's not viable. Why is this card $26.74? I don't get it. I'm starting to get frustrated, y'all. These card prices remind me of how ridiculous the Yu-Gi-Oh can be at sometimes with the prices, because this card is in a deck that sucks. Let's keep it real, the deck. Some of y'all are gonna flame me in the comment section. Ancient Gears don't suck. It's just the right pilot doesn't play them. Sure. I agree with that, but most of these cards are not as good as like other starter cards, or like Union Hanger, for example. This card's not better than Union Hanger, that's for sure. So I just really don't see why this card is $26.74, other than the nostalgia factor and for collectors. And last but not least, shout out to Mike. Crystal Bond. This thing is $21.65, also from Legendary Collection or Legendary Duelist Ancient Millennium. It's just a normal spell card, guys. Gets you something. Add 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your hand and place 1 Crystal Beast monster with a different name from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. But Crystal Beasts are garbage, y'all. They aren't doing anything. They are rogue. They are the roguest of the rogue. Let me tell you that much. $26.65 though, that is unwarranted. This is probably the best card in the deck though. This card gets you something, and it gets you something else. So it's a +1 right off the bat with this card. So any card that's a +1, I guess deserves to be kind of expensive, but not if the deck sucks. The deck is not that good. The deck, I'm sure Mike is sitting here watching this like, shut up, Alice. You don't know what you're talking about. You've never played Crystal Beast in your entire life. You've only took the L from me. So what? I didn't know what the deck did. this deck still doesn't have or doesn't warrant a $21.65 card when it really doesn't do all that much. I'm not sitting here trying to flame Crystal Beast or flame Ancient Gears, but the decks are unarguably rogue. And unarguably, tier 3. They're not even in the tier system because no one's playing them at regionals, and that's fine. It's cool for the local scene, but a $21.65 local scene card, that's a little ridiculous. Maybe I'm getting a bit long-winded here. There's a lot of cards that I have a problem with that are like this. Let me know if you want to know about those cards down in the comment section below. But this is Alex from Plus3 TCG. Signing out, y'all.